Jake, a struggling single dad, was just trying to make ends meet while raising his young daughter in a quiet rural town. Life hadn't been easy since his wife passed, and between odd jobs and sleepless nights, hope was a rare luxury. So when he saw the old, collapsed shed on the edge of a nearby farm, he offered to fix it up for a small fee. Anything to buy a few groceries or pay another bill. He didn't expect the farm's owner to be a quiet, down-to-earth woman named Emily. She dressed plainly, drove an old truck, and worked beside him without complaint. They shared stories over lunch, laughter over spilled paint, and a warmth Jake hadn't felt in years. What Jake didn't know was that Emily wasn't just any farmer. She was the heir to thousands of acres of land, choosing a simple life over the weight of wealth. She saw something honest in Jake, something worth investing in, not with money, but with trust, time, and maybe even love. That broken-down shed was just the beginning. What started as a small act of kindness turned into a second chance neither of them saw coming. Proof that the smallest repairs can lead to the biggest changes. When Jake, a hard-working single father, offered to repair a run-down shed on the outskirts of town, he saw it as just another job, one more way to keep food on the table for his daughter. The property looked ordinary, almost forgotten, and the woman who owned it, Emily, seemed just as unassuming. With worn jeans and muddy boots, she blended in with every other struggling farmer in the area. But there was something different about Emily. She was kind, quiet, and curious about Jake's life. Over shared coffees and steady hammering, they built more than just a shed, they built a connection. Emily listened to his worries, laughed at his stories, and asked questions no one had asked in years. What Jake didn't realize was that behind Emily's simple exterior was a hidden fortune. She was the owner of thousands of acres of farmland, inherited but rarely discussed. She didn't flaunt her wealth or status. She wanted to know who people were when they thought she had nothing to offer. And Jake? He passed that test without even knowing it. In helping repair a forgotten building, Jake uncovered something far greater. A hidden fortune, not just of land, but of love, trust, and the possibility of a new beginning. Jake never expected much from life anymore. As a single father juggling 2 part-time jobs and raising his daughter alone, every day felt like a battle for survival. So when he spotted a broken-down shed on a nearby farm, he offered to fix it for a modest fee, just enough to stretch the week's groceries or pay off another overdue bill. The farm's owner, Emily, was quiet and kind, her hands calloused from years of hard work. She worked beside Jake every day, never revealing much about herself. They shared coffee breaks, small talk, and slowly something deeper. As nails were hammered and boards replaced, Jake found himself opening up for the first time in years. What he didn't know was that Emily wasn't just a farmer with a broken shed. She was the owner of thousands of acres of land, living humbly by choice, guarded by experience. While Jake thought he was fixing a building, Emily saw him repairing something else. His hope, his confidence, his heart. Together, they weren't just restoring wood and nails. They were piecing together 2 broken lives. Sometimes the smallest projects reveal the biggest truths, and in this case, a simple shed became the foundation for something much more enduring. Jake was no stranger to hard work. As a single dad doing everything he could to raise his daughter, life was about survival, day by day, job by job. So when he was offered a small task repairing a weather-worn shed on a quiet farm, he took it without hesitation. The farm's owner, Emily, met him with muddy boots and a gentle smile. She didn't talk much about herself, only about the land, the soil, the seasons, and the peace that came with quiet mornings. Jake assumed she was like many others in the area, scraping by, working hard, holding on. What he didn't know was that Emily was one of the wealthiest landowners in the region, quietly stewarding thousands of acres passed down through generations. Her fortune was vast, but her heart was grounded. She lived simply, valuing honesty and kindness far more than money. In Jake, she saw a man defined not by what he lacked, but by what he gave: love, loyalty,